2010. A year that changed football forever. Spain became world champions for the very first time, playing their beautiful, suffocating tiki-taka.
Barcelona ruled Europe with the brilliance of Lionel Messi, Diaz Iniesta, and Xavier. Cristiano Ronaldo was breaking goal-scoring records in Spain.
And yet, standing in the middle of it all,
there was a player who seemed to rise above the chaos.
A Dutchman, small in stature but immense in influence. A man who carried his club to the greatest triumph in its history, and who dragged his national team to within touching distance of glory.
His name was Wesley Sneijder.
But in December 2010,
when the golden envelope was opened and the Ballon d'Or winner was announced, it wasn't Sneijder. It wasn't the man who had won the treble with Inter Milan and played in the World Cup final. No, his name wasn't even in the top 3. Instead, Lionel Messi lifted the prize for a second consecutive year. Iniesta and Xavier followed behind him. Sneijder, he finished 4th.
Forgotten by the official record books, but never by those who lived through that magical year.
This is the story of how Wesley Sneijder became the most famous
Ballon d'Or snub in football history. Wesley Sneijder was born on June 9, 1984, in Utrecht, the Netherlands. Football was in his blood. His older brother Jeffrey was also a professional player, and his younger brother Rodney would later join the game too. But it was Wesley, the middle child, who would rise to global stardom. From the streets of Utrecht, Sneijder developed the typical Dutch flair, technical skill, sharp passing, and an eye for goal. He joined Ajax's famed academy as a boy, following the footsteps of legends like Johan Cruyff, Marco van Basten, and Dennis Bergkamp.
At Ajax, football wasn't just a sport, it was an art. Youngsters were taught to think, to see the game in pictures, and to play with intelligence. Sneijder made his professional debut for Ajax in 2002. At just 18 years old, immediately, fans could see the spark. He was a natural playmaker, someone who could dictate the tempo of a match but also score spectacular goals.
His free kicks were deadly. His vision was elite. He was small, just 1.7 meters, but his low center of gravity gave him balance and agility that defenders struggled to deal with. By 2004, Sneijder was a regular starter for Ajax, winning the Eredivisie title and beginning to attract attention from Europe's elite clubs. He wasn't just a passer. He could shoot from distance, deliver pinpoint crosses, and score crucial goals. Dutch experts began comparing him to Johan Cruyff not for dribbling, but for intelligence.
In 2007, Real Madrid came calling. Sneijder was signed for 27 million euros, joining the famous Galacticos. At first, he settled quickly, scoring on his debut and helping Madrid to the August 2007 La Liga title. His long-range thunderbolts became a feature, and fans at the Santiago Bernabeu admired his fearless style.
But his time in Spain was turbulent. Real Madrid was unstable. Managers came and went. New signings arrived every summer. In 2009, Madrid signed Cristiano Ronaldo, KK, Benzema, and Xavier Alonso. Sneijder suddenly found himself surplus to requirements.
Injuries didn't help, nor did his struggles of the pitch. By the summer of 2009, Real Madrid decided to sell him, and for just 15 million euros, Inter Milan secured his signature. It was a move that would change football history. Inter Milan was a team in transition. Under Jose Mourinho, they had already won Serie A titles, but they were still searching for European glory. Italy hadn't produced a Champions League winner since AC Milan in 2007, and Inter wanted to be kings of Europe again.
Mourinho needed a playmaker, someone who could link defense and attack, someone who could take responsibility in big matches. Sneijder arrived just days before the Serie A season began in 2009. His debut? The Derby della Madonnina against AC Milan. Inter won 4-0. Sneijder was magical. He slotted into Mourinho's system like he'd been there for years.
The October 2009 season became historic. Inter won Serie A, the Coppa Italia, and the UEFA Champions League, the first Italian club to achieve the treble. At the heart of it all, Wesley Sneijder. In Serie A, he was the brain of the team, while Milito scored the goals. Iti provided the runs, and Cambiaso controlled the midfield. It was Sneijder who connected it all. His passing split defenses, his free kicks created chaos, and his intelligence made Mourinho's system click. But it was in Europe where Sneijder truly shined. In the round of 16, Inter faced Chelsea and Mourinho. Returning to Stamford Bridge, needed his playmaker to deliver. Sneijder provided the assists,
The vision, the calmness. Inter won 3-1 on aggregate.
In the quarter-finals against CSKA in Moscow, Sneijder scored the only goal of the tie, a crucial away goal that sent Inter through. Then came the semi-final, Barcelona, the unbeatable team, Pep Guardiola's machine. Everyone expected them to advance to another final, but Sneijder and Inter had other ideas. In the first leg in Milan, Barcelona scored early through Pedro, but Sneijder equalized with a composed finish, and Inter went on to win 3-1. In the second leg, Mourinho's side parked the bus with 10 men, and Sneijder's work rate helped Inter hold on. It was one of the greatest tactical upsets in Champions League history. Finally, the Champions League final in Madrid, Inter versus Bayern Munich. Everyone remembers Milito's 2 goals, but it was Sneijder's vision that created the opener. Inter won 2-0, the treble was complete. Mourinho said later, "Sneijder was my leader, he made my team play. He deserved the Ballon d'Or."
By May 2010, Wesley Sneijder had done it all.
Serie A champion, Coppa Italia winner, Champions League hero, UEFA Midfielder of the Year, and yet, his greatest test was still to come. That summer, he would lead the Netherlands at the FIFA World Cup in South Africa.
The summer of 2010 was supposed to be Spain's coronation.
La Roja had won 2008 Euros,
and their tiki-taka midfield of Xavi.
Iniesta and Busquets seemed untouchable. Brazil had Kaká and Robinho. Argentina had Messi. Germany had a new golden generation. The Netherlands,
few believed in them.
The Dutch had talent Sneijder, Arjen Robben, Robin van Persie, Dirk Kuyt,
Rafael van der Vaart,
Mark van Bommel, but they weren't considered elite favourites.
The last time they reached a World Cup final was
1978. History was filled with heartbreak.
But this team had something different. Unity, and they had Wesley Sneijder.
The Netherlands were drawn in Group E with Denmark, Japan, and Cameroon. Not the hardest group, but the Dutch needed a strong start.
Against Denmark, Sneijder's clever playmaking unlocked the defense. His shot forced an own goal, and later he created chances for Kuyt. The Dutch won 2-0.
Against Japan, Sneijder took matters into his own hands. In the 53rd minute, he unleashed a thunderbolt from outside the box, 1-0, another win. Against Cameroon, the Dutch were already through. Still, Sneijder controlled midfield, allowing Robben to find his rhythm. Netherlands won 2-1, 3 wins from 3. The world began to notice. Sneijder wasn't just orchestrating attacks, he was scoring the goals too. The round of 16 brought Slovakia. They couldn't handle Sneijder's creativity. In the 84th minute, he smashed home a goal to seal it a -1 win, 2 goals in the tournament. Then came the quarter-final. Brazil, 5-time champions, favourites. The match began disastrously. Robinho scored early, Brazil dominated. The Netherlands looked nervous.
But then Sneijder struck in the 53rd minute. He floated across, causing chaos. Philippe Melo headed into his own net. 1-1.
15 minutes later, from a corner, Kuyt flicked the ball on. Sneijder rose and headed in. Netherlands led. Brazil lost composure. Philippe Melo was sent off. The Dutch held firm. 2-1. Sneijder was the hero. Semi-finals. Netherlands versus Uruguay. Tough opponent, led by Diego Forlán. In the 70th minute, score tied 1-1. Sneijder found space at the edge of the box. His shot took a deflection and rolled past the goalkeeper. Dutch led. Moments later, Robben scored. Uruguay pulled one back, but the Netherlands held on. The Dutch were in the World Cup final for the first time in 32 years. Sneijder had scored 5 goals. Joint top scorer with them lines up, Villa and Forlán. The stage was set. The final against Spain in Johannesburg. The 2010 World Cup final was brutal, physical, and ugly. Howard Webb handed out 14 yellow cards. The infamous moment. Nigel de Jong's karate kick on Xabi Alonso, only a yellow. Sneijder was at the heart of it all. Harassed, fouled, kicked, yet creating chances. In the 60th minute, his through ball put Robben 1-on-1 with Casillas, missed. Later, another Sneijder pass. Casillas saved miraculously. Extra time arrived. The exhausted Dutch. In the 116th minute, Iniesta struck. Goal. Spain 1-0. Dream over. Sneijder collapsed. Tears in his eyes. 5 goals. Match-winning performances. World Cup final. No trophy.
Still, he was recognized. Silver ball for second best player, team of the tournament. the standout star of South Africa 2010.
By July 2010, Sneijder had completed one of the greatest seasons any player had ever produced. Treble with Inter Milan, World Cup final, joint top scorer. The Ballon d'Or seemed destined for him everywhere you looked. Sneijder's fingerprints were on 2010. Bookmakers, journalists, former players all agreed. He wasn't just a candidate, he was the face of football's year. But politics were brewing. For decades, the Ballon d'Or had been awarded by France Football based on journalist votes. In 2010, FIFA merged with France Football to create the FIFA Ballon d'Or, combining votes of journalists, national team coaches, and captains.
The new system, meant to be fairer, created chaos.
The shortlist came out in October 2010. Sneijder, Messi, Ronaldo, Iniesta, Xavi, and others, his season unmatched. Then, the final three nominees were announced: Messi, Iniesta, Xavi, no Wesley Sneijder. The football world couldn't believe it. The man who had done more than anyone in 2010 wasn't even on the podium. It wasn't just a robbery, it was daylight theft. The ceremony in Zurich was glamorous, controversial. Messi won his second consecutive Ballon d'Or. Brilliant in 2010, yes. But he had lost the Champions League semi-final to Sneijder's Inter. Spain, not Argentina, won the World Cup domestically. Barcelona only won La Liga. Meanwhile, Sneijder treble winner, World Cup finalist, top scorer applauded politely. It felt wrong. It looked wrong. Everyone knew it. The fallout was massive. Journalists from Italy, the Netherlands, Germany slammed the decision. La Gazzetta dello Sport wrote, "How can a player who wins everything with his club, shines in the World Cup, and beats Messi head-to-head not make the top three?"
Marco van Basten, unbelievable. Sneijder did more in 2010 than Messi. Inter President Moratti, the award is a farce. Football is played on the pitch, not in marketing offices. Wesley deserved it.
Fans erupted on social media, blogs, and forums. Sneijder had been robbed. Why did it happen? First, politics. Spain had won the World Cup. FIFA wanted to honor La Roja, especially Barcelona's core.
Second, marketing. Messi was young, electrifying, globally marketable. Sneijder was quieter, less marketable.
Third, bias in the new system. Coaches and captains often voted by reputation rather than performance. Messi was the safe choice. Sneijder, despite the evidence, wasn't. Iniesta. Sneijder had an incredible year. He would have been a worthy winner. Xavi agreed. Messi humbly downplayed the award. Deep down, everyone knew the truth. Sneijder handled it with class. He congratulated Messi, smiled through the ceremony. Later, it would have been nice to win, but football is not about individual awards. I won everything with Inter, that is enough.
Years later, he admitted the pain, biggest disappointment of my career. I think I deserved it. Everyone thinks I deserved it, but it didn't happen.
The 2010 Ballon d'Or became legendary, a symbol of how merit wasn't always rewarded, a season erased from history books. Time, however, has a way of rewriting legacies. In the years that followed, Messi dominated, winning 7 Ballon d'Ors. Ronaldo collected 5.
Luka Modric in 2018 won the Ballon d'Or after leading Real Madrid to the Champions League and Croatia to a World Cup final almost identical to Sneijder's 2010 double. The difference, Modric got the award. Sneijder never did.
When 2010 ended, Sneijder stood at football's peak, conquered Europe with Inter Milan, carried the Netherlands to one kick from World Cup glory, praised as the world's most influential player.
Yet, the Ballon d'Or slipped through his fingers.
The years after weren't kind. Mourinho left Inter in summer 2010 under IFA Ben TZ. Inter lacked fire. Sneijder still performed, but the magic of the treble was gone. Injuries crept in. His body, once explosive, began betraying him.
Inter declined in Serie C. Sneijder remained brilliant flashes of genius, killer passes, goals from distance, but consistency slipped. By 2013, after disputes over wages and fitness, he left Milan.
He moved to Galatasaray in Turkey, adored by fans. Won league titles, famous goals, but the stage was smaller. Champions League lights were gone.
Internationally, Sneijder represented the Netherlands with pride. 2012 Euros. Dutch crashed in the group stage. 2014 World Cup. Under Louis van Gaal, he helped the Netherlands reach semi-finals. Against Mexico, trailing 1-0, he scored a perfect 88th minute equalizer. Moments later, Robben completed the comeback.
Netherlands finished third, Sneijder central to the run. By then, younger stars were emerging, declined clear.
By retirement in 2018, Sneijder had 134 caps, most in Netherlands history. 31 goals, countless memories. No Ballon d'Or, but the respect of a nation.
Why does Sneijder's 2010 snub still sting? First, the case was clear. Treble, World Cup final, goals, assists, clutch moments. Nobody matched that.
Second, it symbolized the shift. Ballon d'Or moved from merit to narrative. Marketing, politics, being best wasn't enough. Third, it marked an era. Messi, Ronaldo duopoly dominated the Ballon d'Or 2008 to 2017. Sneijder was the first victim.
Would winning the Ballon d'Or have changed his career? Perhaps cemented him as an all-time great, kept him at a bigger club longer, elevated his status. But the snub gave him something else. Immortality of a different kind. Fans talk about football robberies, greatest injustices. Wesley Sneijder's name always comes up. His 2010 season remembered not just as extraordinary, but as the season that should have won the Ballon d'Or. Even today, interviews with Sneijder circle back to 2010. He smiles, shrugs, sometimes sighs. Robbed, but no regrets. He won the treble, reached the World Cup final, made history.
Football isn't about trophies or golden statues. It's about moments. Sneijder gave plenty. Pass to Robben.
Goal against Brazil. Thunderbolt against Japan. Header against Uruguay.
Treble with Inter. These live forever. Looking back at Wesley Sneijder's career, we see more than a footballer. We see triumph, heartbreak, controversy, legacy. No Ballon d'Or. No problem. He has something stronger. The love of millions who will never forget 2010.
Fans still say,
Wesley Sneijder, the Ballon d'Or winner that never was.